Hi, Hope Chapel. This is Pastor Ken again, and today we're going to be talking about Isaiah 49 through 51. In this passage of Isaiah 49 through 55, it addresses a different side of Israel's issue. Beyond their return to Jerusalem from exile, they needed to return to God. And in Isaiah 42, we're introduced to this servant of the Lord. And now in the 3 chapters of Isaiah 49 through 51, we're encouraged as the writer speaks to God's heart for restoration. The mission of the Messiah, which is the servant of the Lord, who is Jesus, and declares a call for people to trust in his promises. These chapters shift from warnings of judgment to words of comfort and hope, especially for people feeling forgotten, broken, or distant. So Isaiah 49 reintroduces the servant of the Lord again as Jesus, who is called to bring salvation not only to Israel, but also to the eternal existence of all humanity. God declares that it's too small a thing for his servant to restore only Israel, but that he will be a light to all nations, that God's redemptive plan is global across all generations. The recurring theme throughout this passage is God's attempt to overcome an unwillingness to believe what he says. This is particularly evident in the contrast between 49:13 and 49:14. God promises comfort and compassion, but the people say that it's not true because God has forgotten them. See, even when we feel forsaken and forgotten, God responds with tenderness. He says, "Can a mother forget a nursing child? I've engraved you on the palm of my hands," which is a beautiful parallel to the nail piercings that Jesus took on the cross as he gave his life for us. These words speak powerfully today to anyone who feels abandoned or insignificant. God sees, God remembers, God cherishes you, and he cherishes his people. Isaiah 50 continues the theme of restoration, but also acknowledges rebellion. The chapter presents the servant as one who listens to God, suffers willingly, and then trusts in God's vindication. Again, it points to Jesus, who suffered not for his own sin, but for our sin. It also invites us to walk in that same trust, even to the point of suffering, because we know that God is near. And the final chapter is a call to remember God's faithfulness and to look forward in hope. God reminds his people of the story of Abraham and Sarah, how he brought life out of the barrenness and built a nation out of nothing. He encourages them not to fear human opposition because his justice and salvation are everlasting. This is a bold call to live with courage in uncertain times. See, we have to constantly listen to the message. Listen today. Let me remind you of what God has done. Listen today. Let me show you how far-reaching God's plan is in your life. Would you listen today and be encouraged by God's faithfulness and his strength? Isaiah 51:12 says, I, the one who comforts you. Why are you afraid of what happens in these earthly situations that change so quickly and have no real strength? Have you forgotten the Lord, your Creator, the one who stretched out the sky like a canopy and laid the foundations of the earth? Yes, that's God's desire for you and I today. Will you pray with me? God, in a world filled with anxiety, isolation, and injustice, will you remind us that your perfect plan is still unfolding through Jesus? That he is the true embodiment of a servant who is willing to suffer, willing to sacrifice on our behalf. That no one is forgotten. That through the scars of the cross, our names are engraved on his hands. When we struggle or we feel like giving up, remind us that we can look to you, Jesus, who obeyed perfectly and endured faithfully. And when fear threatens to paralyze us, remind us that your promises outlast every threat. In your name, amen.